the resistance.
Good morning, everyone. This is Chris Sheldon, aka the Tin Man with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you are watching this, you are the Resistance, and welcome to the Roundtable, brought to you by the fictitious Monster Blue, the fictitious product that doesn't actually exist because we are not sponsored by any major corporations or the Zionist butt plugs. We are by the people, for the people, of the people, the way your government should be.
Exactly.
But given that we are of the people, by the people, for the people, if you like this broadcast, by all means, please share the live feeds. Follow us on our various social medias, Rumble, YouTube, X, all at Real TWBRN. That's Real TWBRN. And on YouTube, hit the like and follow buttons as well as that notification bell to completely fuck up YouTube's algorithms. And also be sure to check out our online store. Tons of great merch there, with more coming this week in particular. In light of the recent tragedies, which we will be covering here today. And last but not least, the Roundtable is not just about the people on the podcast. It is all-inclusive, meaning that you are a part of the conversation. You are a part of the Roundtable. That is why it is the Roundtable. It's not just me and Revan and whoever else is on camera. You are a part of this Roundtable. You are a part of the conversation, so feel free to chime in with your thoughts, opinions, new information, whatever, whenever. Again, it's by you, for you, all about you. And on that note, comments are enabled. So let's go ahead and cut the intro music and go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of what's going on here. We got a lot of shit happening. We got the Minnesota ICE shooting with Renee Nicole Good, and you also wanted to bring up the other shooting, Rowan? Before we really dive into everything else, go ahead and talk about that.
I came across this thing where on YouTube, it was a part of the news thing here, and 2 people were shot by ICE. But the thing is, we will be seeing this for the past several months or all year. You know.
Yeah. Before you carry on further, I want to reiterate something.
Okay.
The shooting that you are referencing was not ICE. It was U.S. Customs.
Okay.
U.S. Customs Enforcement, which is a completely different agency in and of itself. And they're the ones that shot that man and that woman. I haven't heard too many details on that because it kind of got pushed to the back burner because it wasn't directly ICE. So I wanted to point that out. Let's not misrepresent this. It was not ICE. It was
Border Patrol.
U.S. Customs.
U.S. Customs and Border Patrol.
Yes. So, again, 2 completely different agencies.
Yeah.
One having very little, if anything, to do with the other. So, carry on with your report on this, Revan.
The 2 people that were shot, they're still alive. They're wounded, but the thing is, both are married and also members of the Venezuelan prison gang.
Okay.
And
do we know why they were shot? What the circumstances were that led to those events?
From what I picked up, it was a immigration thing. Part of the immigration enforcement, and like others, they were resisting, firing at them,
Okay.
and they got shot. If you have the balls to shoot out at any ICE agent or U.S. Customs Border Patrol thing, look, you will get shot back because
Yeah,
here in the United States we have a right to defend ourselves.
we do, and especially in terms of law enforcement, if a law enforcement officer feels that their life is in danger, it generally authorizes the use of lethal force.
Yes.
And we will be getting into that momentarily. But do we know any more details about the events in which you are discussing with this shooting of this man and this woman?
The mayor is they did a press conference the other day, like 2 days ago, talking about how ICE should leave, stop what they're doing and leave. Well, I got to think about that. Okay, look, we've been dealing with this immigration bullshit ever since the Biden administration. Okay, a mass deportation happened, but there's still stragglers. You know?
Yeah.
And when you're trying to get this shit back to, when you're trying to get your country back like seriously back, where, hey, look, if you want to come here, it's fine, but you have to go through proper channels. You know, file for asylum, then file for citizenship.
Yeah,
do
and
the
that's
right thing.
that is an interesting point you bring up. And sorry to interrupt, but for those who don't understand, many of those people claim they were seeking asylum. Now, the way you go about asylum, and this works everywhere, if you want to seek asylum in another country, you go to the U.S. Embassy, which in the case of the migrants coming from the South, the U.S. Embassy would have been in Mexico. You would go apply for asylum in the United States with the U.S. Embassy there in Mexico, and you would reside at the embassy and be given diplomatic security, pretty much the equivalent of sanctuary, as it was referred to in the old days.
Yeah.
From diplomatic persecution, because it is United States territory.
Yeah.
The United States within another country. So if you are in the U.S. Embassy and you have applied for asylum, you are technically on U.S. soil and protected until such time that you are granted asylum or your application is rejected, at which point you leave. But
well, the thing is, it has to go through a judge, too.
Yeah.
I mean, a judge would say, well,
so there is a process, and it is rather lengthy, especially when you have a large influx of asylum seekers.
It will be lengthy, but the thing is, as long as you do go through proper channels, you're good. Also, they will provide you a lawyer, pro bono.
And you under the protection of the U.S. government by way of the U.S. Embassy.
Yeah.
So nobody can touch you. You're safe. You're good. You just chill and wait.
Oh, hell yeah. But the thing is,
most of those people didn't do that.
My late grandparents came to this country from Mexico as political refugees and shit,
Yeah.
Because even back then, a lot of crazy shit happens in major government,
Yes.
For example, if you and I went to, say, Mexico, right? For example, okay? And we just come in there nonchalant, think we run the place and whatnot. Only example, folks. Only example. and we just, hey, give me money, give me. Our asses will be sent back here to the United States.
Yeah.
Okay? If we want to become a citizen of Mexico or, say,
any other country,
Greenland or whatever, we have to go through the proper channels and file for an asylum. And also, not just that, but also file for citizenship to become a citizen of the country.
Yeah, apply for a visa, apply for citizenship. It is a process. It is a lengthy process. Could it be more efficient? That is one of the biggest caveats of the Democratic Party is, and I've heard this time and time again, the process is way too long, on average 7 years. And that's way too long for a person to wait. And
I agree.
And I would be inclined to agree. However, why has this never been, I would ask, if this is such a pressing issue to the Democratic Party, why is it Democrats that never addressed this issue while they were in power? That's something that also needs to be addressed by the Trump administration as well. I'm not going to mince words. I'm not going to play bias. Regardless of the administration in power or whose party holds majority power, whether congressional or executive power, this is an issue that evidently needs to be addressed and has not been addressed, and definitely needs to be addressed. Apart from securing our borders, which is important, absolutely, we also need to make the process of applicancy into this country faster and more efficient. It needs to be more efficient and not be a 7-year waiting period. But again, on the flip side, those coming into the country on temporary visas need to be willing, if they want citizenship, they need to be willing to go along with the process, regardless of whether or not it's been fixed or not. If you want citizenship, you got to play ball. And there's many ways of going about that. But those are all kind of sub-issues leading into the bigger problem. Now, getting back to Renee Nicole Good, there's a lot surrounding her background. In fact, I'm going to bring up some things here that I want to show you guys regarding her background and things that are popping up, some of which are verified, some of which are not, but they are worth looking at. I'm going to go here to my X real quick, but get some replies. Hey, look, we're on camera. This picture here, first off, the picture on the left you see is what the media uses, and in contrast to what she looks like now. In contrast, a lot of people ask, why not show the current photo? Why does it matter? As you can see from my response, it matters because it shapes people's perceptions, and perception is reality. Now, to the left, you see this woman dolled up. She probably was doing a photo shoot, but without the makeup, she's relatively older. Maybe looks like she is engaged in meth for a period of time. I'm not saying that definitively. I'm just saying meth addicts do have a particular look as a result of drug use that happens to the body. And she looks like she might fit that criteria. Now, I'm not saying she was a meth addict. I'm just saying, based on my initial perception, looks like she could have been a meth addict. Or it could just be that she's just getting older. Shit happens, and sometimes we don't age well. Okay, so I'm not passing judgment there. I'm just making an initial observation. But the point of making that initial observation and stating that observation is, again, perception. People's perception is key because perception is reality for most people. And it depends on how you want to cast this person. Do you want to cast this? If you're the mainstream media, you are trying to cast this person as a victim, a mother, a victim, naturally. Okay. But what we do know is she's not a young, beautiful mother. You have the contrast. Again, perception is reality. What you see is not always what you're actually getting. And as far as her being a loving mother and all that shit, I don't know exactly where Good and her family and her lover came from. I hear it was from out of state. Some people say it was simply out of town. But many people are asking why, if this woman is a mother, why was she not at home or at work tending to her kids? Apparently, there was an issue regarding losing her children. And I'm actually going to play this video here.
And the reason she only has... Hey, just a little tidbit about the left's new hero.
Shut up. Okay, I'm going to play this video, and this pretty much just sums it up. Again, this is not necessarily verified. I have not been able to verify this as of yet, but this is something to take into consideration. I've heard variants of this story, that she had her children taken away by CPS. It's been all over X. Again, I have not been able to verify it. There's been no posting stating the contrary as of yet, but here you go. Have a look at this.
Hey, tidbit about the left's new hero. Yeah, she only has custody of one of her kids. And the reason she only has custody of one is that her domestic partner, a woman, she likes to beat the shit out of kids and put cigarettes out on their arm. And she chose that woman over her kids. Yeah, the court was basically like, hold on, if you're going to stay with her, you don't get to keep the kids. And she was like, yeah, that's fine. So when people were asking, why was this mother not at home taking care of her children? It's because her children were taken away from her, because her partner likes to beat the shit out of them and use their fucking arms as ashtrays. Like, it's amazing to me that every hero of the left turns out to be an awful human being. Like, that sounds surprising, but it's the reality, because
You can just goes on a tangent after that point, but
that is the older millennial.
yeah. But it begs the question, again, if this is not being confirmed or denied, I'm sure a lot of people have run it through Grok or other AI programs. And again, I haven't seen any community notes stating that this is not fact or deviating in any way from this narrative.
I have some here.
What do you got, brother?
It's from Alpha News. Breaking: Alpha News has obtained cell phone footage showing perspective of federal agent at Center of Involved.
Yes, I posted that yesterday. We can get into that in a minute. I have the video. We will show that in a moment.
Okay.
I actually have quite a few different angles that we will be covering here. That's my next bullet point. But again, she was allegedly coming from out of town or even out of state. Her lover, her wife, whatever, brought her there. That other person on the street was her intimate partner, apparently. And she was on the street while Renee was in the van. And they were there obstructing ICE and were blocking the road for about 15 minutes, according to the allegations. Now, again, I don't know if this is confirmed or what. If anybody has any additional info on that, Please share it in the comments. If you have any material to reference, do post the links and we will share that here on the live feed. But allegedly they did come from out of town to interrupt this ICE investigation and what they were doing. Now we're going to go ahead and start reviewing some of the footage. Since you brought that up, we're going to review some of the footage of the event in question, because there was a lot of footage, there was a lot of angles, there's a lot of still frames. So let's go back to X and have a look at all that. And let's look at the position of the vehicle. All right. You have the ICE agent approaching the vehicle, telling her to get out of the car. You have this ICE agent telling her to get out of the car and pay attention to the wheels. She backs up, straightens her vehicle out, which is in direct line of sight to the officer in question. The officer who was allegedly hit and who fired the 3 shots, killing Renee Good. Now, these tires are straight, meaning she's going to be, if she accelerates at this point, she is heading straight for this person. Now, as she moves forward, then she starts turning after the fact. Whereas she had plenty of opportunity to turn her wheels all the way to the right prior to accelerating the vehicle, which would have put her in the clear of even remotely possibly striking the individual ICE agent. Now, let's go and bring up another video. You have the front end angle. You can see the ICE agent in front of her. He is clearly hit. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit here. Okay, you see his hands slam onto the hood of the car with his phone and his gun as she hits him with the driver's side of her vehicle. More specifically, the driver's side headlight and bumper is what impacts with the officer in question. He slams onto the hood and slides off to the side and proceeds to open fire. Looked like he initially maybe tried to get her to stop, or maybe that's just a response to the impact. But going to the next video, this is the video from Axios.
Get out of the car.
Still to get out of the car. The ICE agent is clearly hit. Again, let me backtrack that up so you can actually hear the impact. See, you have her backing up. Impact. You hear the impact. You see the jerky, the sudden jerk of the phone of the impact. You can hear the impact, followed immediately by the gunshots. Now, there is clear and evident impact of the ICE agent on this vehicle. Clear as day. There is no debating that point. And anybody who wants to debate that point, that's all well and fine, but the fact of the matter remains, you are willfully engaging in disinformation at that point.
Exactly.
because you have multiple angles showing definitively that Renee positioned her vehicle, accelerated it, and struck the ICE agent. Now, all of that authorizes the use of lethal force because you are now
Exactly.
placing people in danger, because that is reckless endangerment, because you're speeding, you're attempting to speed off, or even just accelerating your vehicle before the quote pedestrian, for lack of a better term, is clear of the vehicle. Now let's take ICE out of the equation for a minute here. Say it was just a regular pedestrian crossing the street. This is where the ICE agent fucked up. You never get in front of a vehicle that is in operation. Okay, the only time you are permitted generally to get in front of a vehicle is when the vehicle is off, or you're in a designated crossing zone like a stop sign or a street light. Generally, where law enforcement is concerned, the laws do tend to vary, and it becomes a little convoluted in terms of state laws versus federal laws. And there are even contradicting state laws and city laws, or just laws in general, that contradict each other.
Yeah.
But given that ICE and ICE protesters have a history of ICE protesters ramming ICE with their vehicles, and common sense just says you don't get in front of a moving vehicle or a vehicle in operation lest you be placed at safety risk. Okay, that's just common sense. That's where he fucked up. Now, a lot of people say that he didn't necessarily have to shoot her, even though he had the legal right to do so, which is true. You can make that argument because he could have shot out her tires. He was in close enough range. He could have shot out the driver's side tires front and back, but acting in the moment, having been authorized, having been struck by a vehicle, which is what she did, was reckless endangerment, assault on a federal agency, assault on an officer, and prospectively attempted murder. Okay, you can regard all those factors, all three of those, and justify
I
the use of
have a
lethal
thought
force.
on this one here.
Shoot.
Now, the thing is, I do agree that he should just move out of the way. And not
Yeah.
like I think he did that to intention to shoot the woman. I mean,
It is quite possible because he
tires,
has been hit.
her tires were turning right. She was going right.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I'm gonna pull that back up for you.
yeah,
Carry on with your thought.
her tires were. She was turning her tires right to the right because that's where she was going was right.
All right. So let's go back to the video in question. Okay, so let's deep dive that.
If the guy would have just let her go, it would have happened.
Okay, so you have this ICE agent telling her to get out of the vehicle, at which point she puts the vehicle in reverse, straightens out her tires. Okay, you see her tires starting to spin?
Yeah.
Yeah, at which point her tires are straight. And the ICE officer in question, who was struck, was actually in her line of sight.
Yeah.
Now,
exactly.
Now the vehicle is straight, and at this point where she is accelerating her tires and spinning her tires are straight.
Yeah.
And it is not until after she is in motion, when she is already accelerating towards him, that she turns her tires. She turns her tires after the vehicle is in motion, rather than pulling her tires all the way to the right as she should have. She straightened her tires and then turned after the vehicle was already in motion. Now, that's where she fucked up.
Yes.
Because she should have turned all the way to the right, providing a clear, distinct path away from the officer. Now, getting back to general law here, take ICE out of the equation for a moment. If it is simply a driver and pedestrian, if you need to move around a pedestrian in the street because for whatever reason, some reasons there's times where pedestrians are in the street for whatever reason, because of another accident or this or that, things happen. But if there are allowances to go around pedestrians, or even if they are just crossing in front of you, regardless of the circumstances, the pedestrian has to be clear of the vehicle, whether the pedestrian moves out of the way of the vehicle or the vehicle positions itself to where the pedestrian is no longer in the vehicle's initial general vicinity. Okay, that is basic law. The pedestrian has to be clear of the vehicle before the vehicle can, by law, proceed forward.
Exactly.
And in that instance, when she began to spin her tires and the tires were still straight, because initially her tires were faced to the left, she backed up and faced her tires forward, where the ICE agent was still in front of her, proceeded forward, and then began to turn. But the problem is where she fucked up, when she began to accelerate, the ICE officer was still in the line of sight of the vehicle.
Exactly.
That's where she fucked up.
All she had to do was
turn her tires all the way to the right.
Yeah, back up, turn tires to the right, way to the right.
Yeah. All she had to do was turn her tires all the way to the right and then slowly proceed forward. But even at that, she's in the wrong because she was ordered to get out of the vehicle.
Car. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. At which point you are evading a federal officer and essentially evading arrest.
Yeah. If she done what she was told, that is what happened.
Yeah. So you have them at the scene interfering with a federal agency. Officers tell her to get out of the car. She attempts to flee after declaring she's not mad. We've all seen the video where she's saying, "I'm not mad at you, blah, blah, blah." And she's perfectly calm, actually seemingly enjoying herself. The media initially projected it as she was in fear for her life, blah, blah, blah. She was evidently not in fear. And when the ICE agent told her to get out of the car, she decided to haul ass, which is, if nothing else, it's kind of fucked up because she left her partner right there on the side of the road and was going to haul ass and leave her there. What was she thinking?
Here's the fuck up here, okay? Here's the fuck up that they're pushing here. Okay. We all know that there are agitators, okay? We all know that across the country, there's 500,000 people, maybe more, protesting combined, totally.
Yeah, you're actually getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me on my points here, brother. You're actually 2 points ahead of me.
They want to push it, and brother, we all know this.
Yeah, and we're actually going to get into that because I actually have some things I want to bring up and show you.
Okay.
In a minute here, but first, let's not jump ahead of ourselves. Let's look at the law. A lot of people are saying they want justice for Renee Good, and I'm sorry if I keep calling her Green. I don't know. I for some reason my brain thinks Marjorie Taylor Greene for some stupid reason. Not Marjorie Taylor Greene. Two different people. But Renee Good in this shooting, you have laws versus laws, and a lot of these protesters that you're mentioning are saying justice for Renee, yada, yada, yada. Now, the question is, can, by law, not on a matter of public opinion or morality or what he could have done in contrast to the law that would have been a better alternative, by law, by legal definition, can he actually be charged with criminal negligence, unlawful discharging of a firearm, and abuse of authority, for lack of a better term, maybe?
That is a two-way street, man. Two-way street.
Because
the reason is, I mean, the thing is, if you wanted to avoid getting hit, look, all you had to do was, as soon as she leaves, grab the plate numbers.
Well, they already have the plate numbers.
Because once you get the plate numbers, you could track her down through the DMV, okay? Get the address, go get her, get a warrant, go get her.
Yeah, you can do that.
That would have been a better thing. But
that would have been a better thing, but that's not generally how law enforcement proceeds.
And his fuck up was live on TV.
Yeah, he should not have walked in front of her vehicle. That was his dumb fault. He did fuck up there.
Well, they're both at fault.
Yeah, he put himself in danger by putting himself in front of that vehicle by walking in front of it while it was parked. Now, she fucked up because she took the vehicle out of park, straightened out her wheels to accelerate at him before turning to drive away from him.
Exactly.
And she also fucked up by not following the orders given to her by a lawful agency.
Exactly.
Okay, so the only thing he did wrong in that regard was legally was having walked in front of the vehicle like a dumbass, which is really stupid on ICE's part, because how many times have ICE protesters used their vehicles and rammed their vehicles at ICE agents, whether on the street or while in their vehicles? ICE protesters have rammed ICE vehicles, rammed ICE agents. This agent in question prior had actually been hit by a car and drug several feet and was out of commission for a good long while prior to this.
It's because the thing is,
that was really dumb on his part to get in front of a vehicle. Whether it's on or
I
off,
did a video
or
on
whether
this.
It's parked or not.
I did a video on that here a while back. I'll say it. Look, there are agitators again, and the media don't give you the full thing. Okay, again,
no, they're not. And we're getting into all that.
They want to film to only have it one way, to have a narrative. Fuck guys. Okay, hold on. Time out. Okay, folks, we got some dumbass motherfuckers in this country that get themselves so riled up over one tidbit. Okay, look, you're not getting the full fucking story. You're only getting it from a third party where they're only pushing it where they want to rile you up so you can just do something very stupid, okay? Look, this woman and this ICE agent both are fucking stupid, okay? Really fucking dumb.
Yes.
Absolutely dumb, okay? Look, if you attack an ICE agent or a Border Patrol, anything, look, you have to understand, it's a felony.
It is.
Also, it's a federal crime to attack a federal agent, okay?
Yes.
It ain't juvie. You're looking at big bitch time.
Yeah. And I can understand if you're trying to stand against an actual totalitarian system. But here's the thing. ICE isn't a totalitarian system. It's not some new thing that Orange Man made up because he's a racist prick and comprised it full of racist people. Okay, that is not the case. ICE was formed in 2002 under George Bush Jr. Okay, little Bush. Yeah, George Bush, a year after 9/11, formed the ICE agency in 2002. Nobody, Democrats or Republicans, had a problem with it.
No.
Obama used ICE in succession to deport more illegals than Trump has. In fact, Obama still holds the record over Trump over most illegal migrants deported.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay? Again, Democrats didn't have a problem.
No.
Okay? So why, 24 years later, do we now have a problem with this agency? Oh, Orange Man, bad. Orange Man, bad. Orange Man, racist. ICE is comprised of racists. They just say
it's okay for
exist
Obama to
because
do it,
ICE is
right?
racist and comprised
It's okay
of
for
racists.
Obama to do it, but if Trump do it, oh, Orange Man, bad. Orange Man, evil monkey.
Yeah, but yet nobody had a problem when Obama was doing it, and then they want to blame people for what Obama. They want to blame Trump for what Obama did. Oh, Trump put people in cages. No, that was Obama. Look it up. Again with the disinformation shit. So, and here's another point of disinformation. I just pulled this up for you guys. You have this ICE agent, and a lot of people are saying that this guy here is the ICE agent, and you have a swastika variant, a tattoo of a swastika variant on his neck. However, when you search Grok, yes, this is a swastika variant, but when you ask Grok, is this person in the photo an ICE agent? Grok responds, based on the fact checks from AP and Yahoo, the photo shows a different individual from a January 5th video, not the ICE agent involved in the Minneapolis shooting. The agent, Jonathan Ross, lacks such a tattoo. Claims linking them are debunked and as misinformation.
What they're doing is they're cherry picking. They're cherry picking certain pictures, certain angles at something here to push a narrative, push some kind of bullshit. Again, you have these assholes. They're not really protesting. They're agitating. And look, don't get me wrong. Protesting peacefully is part of the First Amendment. I get that. We all get that. But the thing is, once you're starting to assault somebody, protesting ain't the shit.
Yeah,
that's gone. That's it's agitators. Laura Ingraham was at an event.
Yeah.
Okay. And she talked to one of these assholes. Why are you wearing a mask? I'm getting paid. I'm getting paid.
Yeah, most of them are getting paid.
Most of these assholes are fucking getting paid. Plus. We all know that when Maduro got captured by our U.S. Special Forces, a huge number of Venezuelans were cheering happy, like, yes.
Millions were celebrating in the street.
But
in D.C., there were Venezuelans who were attacked by Democrat protesters.
Yeah, and the thing
because they were in support of Trump removing Maduro.
You have dumbasses who are not really in support of Maduro, but they're pushing a narrative because oh my God, if they can arrest Maduro, how come they didn't get Netanyahu? Because maybe the thing is, and I'm going to turn up to about 12, even though Netanyahu has an arrest warrant on his fucking fat ass, his fat half Polish ass, the motherfucker, okay, he has Israeli agents monitoring other governments.
Yep.
On his orders. Okay. Here's the thing.
Including our own.
If they attempt to do it, they're dead.
Yeah.
So let's turn up to number, say, 14. Let's really turn to the 14 here. Okay. Now, the thing is, we can get Netanyahu. Okay. There's still an arrest warrant on his fucking fat Polish ass, half Polish ass. Okay.
And since you said it, we got to do it.
Oh, so
Hey, you brought it up. I'm not necessarily going that route, but BB shit. If you want to talk about BB shitting Yoo-hoo, we got to go that route.
Now the thing is, we can still get Ned. I mean, we can still get the guy. Okay.
Yeah, we can.
Which you can. What's his biggest fear? Okay. Like every other leader across the great world here. Now, Palpatine said this. If y'all remember episode 3, the ones who have the power are afraid of losing it.
Yeah.
And when they lose it, they really lose it.
They do. And that's the biggest problem, because you were asking, why are these things happening? 0 Point suggested this was a setup by a crisis actor. She was probably a paid crisis actor. Why the fuck else would she and her lover come from out of town to interfere with an agency? Why would they knowingly risk their lives knowing that lethal force could be an option to do what they did? Now I'm going to backtrack here. We're going to go back to...
I think Tampon Tim's more of a MaxiPad guy myself.
I wouldn't be surprised if he shoved it right up his ass. But why are these people... It has to be asked. Why are these people doing this? Why are they putting themselves in danger? You have all these people calling for the death of ICE, calling for the death of varying government agencies, not just recently, but throughout the entirety of this current administration. Death threats on various politicians, death threats on ICE agents, and even the agency itself. Why? Why go out of your way to be an agitator and ram vehicles and do all these things? Here's why. And this is not me. This is Axios. Democrats told to get shot. Yeah, read that. Get shot for the anti-Trump resistance. Civility isn't working, and to prepare for violence. Get the fucking thing off my fucking page. What the hell are you doing? What is that
exactly,
thing doing?
Man.
There we go. Okay. Axios again. There needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public. That's their intention. Okay? Renee Nicole Good was not some prissy little mother taking care of her children who just happened to find herself in a bad situation. No, she and her lover went out of their way to go to this ICE raid and to deliberately interfere, escalate the situation, and prospectively get shot or even killed. Okay? Why? Because the Democratic Party needs its George Floyd number 2. That's why people are referring to her as George Floyd 2.0.
I got a thing here about the thing in Portland here.
Shoot.
DHS. Portland suspects who weaponized vehicle against CP agents are Venezuelan prison gang affiliates.
Okay.
Two suspect shots for weaponizing their vehicle against Portland-based Border Patrol agents are affiliated with the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. According to the Department of DHS, the relations came late Thursday after a news emerged of a shooting involving U.S. immigration official in Portland, Oregon. Initials reporting indicated that two were shot in the incident. When details of the case finally emerged, it clearly was not what Democrats who had already rushed to falsely blame the officials.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, you've got these protesters who are going out of their way to show up to these events, which means
let's rephrase that: agitators.
Yeah. Okay. These agitators are showing up at these events, which means they know about these events prior to them happening.
Wait,
okay. You have the protest. You have the agitators showing up. You have the agitators engaging in violence. Many, if not most, if not all of them, are paid to show up there. There are websites listing when an event will happen in your area, and these people monitor those websites. And Tampon Tim and others are calling for ICE to leave or die, saying Tampon Tim is saying that he will use the National Guard, as if the National Guard doesn't answer directly to the commander-in-chief over you. Yeah, you can deploy the Guard, but if somebody of higher rank, like the commander-in-chief, gives a contrary order, guess what? Your orders are null and void, Tampon Tim. You're fucked. Bye. Okay, you need to get that in mind, which is why he suggests the civilian militias, because they don't answer to any
of the names of two people.
Okay.
Luis David Nico Macana, driver, and Yerlinis Betsabeth Zambrano Contreras, passenger.
Okay, and that's the
Venezuelan nationals. Yeah, they're Venezuelan nationals.
Okay.
Released in the U.S. by the Biden administration, associated with the transnational gang Tren de Aragua. While Macana was suspected Tren de Aragua member who was final order for removal and was arrested for DUI and unauthorized use of vehicle. Yeah. Zambrano Contreras played an active role in the prostitution ring. Was involved in prostituting in Portland, according to the agency.
Okay.
But they are hospitalized, so they're alive.
They're alive, but they are hospitalized. Okay. So, but here's my thing. You have these agitators showing up. You have the websites telling the agitators where ICE is going to be. You have elected officials calling for violence, declaring civil war conditions and statements in retaliation to the President of the United States. You have the Soros Group funding these protests and have attorneys and judges on the payroll, the Soros judges and attorneys. Why has the Trump administration, by way of the Department of Justice, arrested these people and had a RICO case going here. And I understand, the government corruption and whatnot, but you can appoint a good DA that is good. You can appoint a good judge that is good. You can have military tribunals and arrest all these people, the organizers of the websites, the funders with the Soros group, even George Soros himself,
and his son.
These politicians who are calling for violence and making all these threats, so on and so forth. All these corrupt judges and attorneys. You can arrest them and hold a RICO case. Even if it's a military tribunal, you can have a RICO case on a military tribunal. You don't have to sit there and try each one of them individually and assign all these judges and all these people. No. One judge, one attorney, one prosecutor, one jury panel, one RICO case. Trying all these people in RICO. Why are we not doing this?
Zero says here, I thought monopolies were banned, but BlackRock less than 1% of everything. Well, here's the thing. BlackRock just lost $3.5 trillion.
Yeah, and Trump's been putting in a lot of legislation making it so that they can't buy up private residential properties. So the whole thing of, smart cities and compact cities and coffin apartments just got a huge fucking monkey wrench in its works. But, again, many on the side of Trump will argue that, Trump's doing a lot of good in these fronts. Okay, great. But you have this issue that is remaining relatively untouched, and it's not getting done. Spam Bundy and what's his name need to be fucking fired. I've been saying that time and time again. Fire them. Get them out.
Fire Pam Bondi. Bring in Trey Gowdy, man.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Look. If you bring in Trey Gowdy, the dude will get the job done, man. The guy.
He would. He'd have it done.
Former prosecutor, former senator out of North Carolina, by the way.
Yeah, dude, don't fuck around. Dude, don't fuck around.
And if you want an FBI director, bring in someone for the military, man. That is basically has zero fucks given about someone's feelings.
Yeah,
bring that kind of person in to be the new director. Because look, we need to get shit fucking done, man.
Yeah, and here's the thing that's why a lot of people voted for Trump. What the left needs to understand, and I'm speaking to the left here, it's not because people are racist. Yes, you have racist people in ICE. You do have racist people who voted for Trump, but that is not the majority. That is not the majority of ICE agents. That is not the majority of people who voted for Trump. People who voted for Trump, the majority of which did so for the same reason you and many others voted for Barack Obama. People want change. We are tired of the same puppet politicians serving the globalist agenda. We want somebody who is not a globalist, who thinks for himself and is going to put the American people first. Now, you can argue, Venezuela is not putting America first, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I've addressed that in a previous video. I'll share that in the link. I'll show that link in the comment section of this video later, after repost and retransmission. But at the end of the day, it wasn't because of racism or any of that the majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump. They voted for Trump for the same reason that people voted for Obama. They wanted change. They wanted somebody who was going to put America first. It was as simple as that. Now, whether or not we get that, it's still yet to be seen. There is some good. There is some bad. Okay? which is why you hear people like myself and Alex Jones and others saying we need to hold Trump's feet to the fire, because he seems, at least 9 times out of 10, willing to listen and course correct. If somebody comes to him and say, hey, no, you're doing the wrong thing, he'll course correct.
Maybe we should tell him, look, stay away from Greenland, man.
Well, he's actually backed off a lot of that. Because what's his name was fucking pushing all that shit. It's like, oh, go to war with these people, that people, Colombia, Cuba, all these other motherfuckers.
Let me give a reason why Trump needs to back the fuck off of Greenland, 100% back off. Because the thing is, France and Denmark, they're willing to go to war with us to protect Greenland, man.
Yeah.
They ain't fucking around.
France and Denmark really don't have that adequate of a military. And the thing is,
but still
with
combined,
Greenland,
they're willing to fight to defend Greenland. Look, Greenland has its right to its own sovereignty. Leave it alone. Don't even go near it.
Yeah. A lot of it has to do with the infrastructure that we established there decades ago. And that's a lot of what is going on with the issue in Venezuela and the aspect of the oil, Greenland, the Panama Canal. All these things were things that America helped to set up and are now trying to regain control over for our economic benefit. Now, there were other issues as to why we... Huh?
Do you know what's powering Iceland?
What? The volcano.
Volcano.
Yeah.
They're using the volcanoes as a resource, as a power resource.
Yeah, but we set up a lot of the infrastructure over there. So it's a lot of that, at least in terms of the argument, is we are trying to regain control of the systems that we set up, like the infrastructure in Iceland, the Panama Canal, the Venezuelan oil. You know, we used to have big business with Venezuelan oil about 30 years ago, back in the 80s, when Venezuela was richer than the United States at its peak. That was because of the partnership we had with them and the infrastructure we set up with to utilize the Venezuelan oil. Those are things that we're trying to get back to. Now, we're going after Greenland is actually a good thing. Yeah, but where going after Greenland is a good thing is, one, it is recontrolling that resource, and two, it is pissing off the EU, which is going to drive us out of NATO, because the United States government doesn't want to vote to leave NATO. But if we can get the EU and
the real reason why Trump wants Greenland, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to turn up to 15 here. Okay,
go for it.
Greenland is powered by a volcano. Okay.
Yes.
They have a lake that you could go in. It basically powers the whole country.
Yeah.
And the thing is, why is he really going there? And it's coming from me to take control of that very resource.
Yeah, it's one, to control the resource that we helped set up, and two, to piss off the EU to get us kicked out of NATO.
But if Trump is going after Greenland because of that volcano energy, fuck him.
Okay? I'm not saying there's not pros and cons to it. I'm just saying, in hindsight, it's the same as the Panama Canal. We helped set up the Panama Canal. We utilized that for our benefit.
Yeah, but we
got fucked out of it because previous administrations gave it away. Same with Venezuelan oil. Same with Greenland, and even Denmark.
Let's go back a little bit.
Back years ago. Hold on. Let me finish my thought, and then you can out the table and run with it where you want. Denmark said that Greenland was sovereign. They didn't have anything to do with Denmark. So the fact that Denmark is trying to flex in terms of Greenland, they're trying to go back on their own statements saying, oh, well, Denmark's independent of us. So why the fuck are they even interfering? Why the fuck is France interfering? France ain't got shit to do with nothing.
They're doing it. They're doing it to protect the sovereignty of Greenland.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, how many regime changes have our government done over the years, man? We have
six.
to really
Six and 63.
We have to really stop and think. Okay, we have to really stop for a moment here and think. 63 regime changes. Okay,
No, it's 6 regime changes since 1963. Maduro was number 6.
It happened way before, man. In the 30s, in the 30s and 30s, man. You know.
Yes.
And why the regime changes? Why?
For globalist control.
Could it be that the reason to go after Greenland is part of that shit too?
Yes, but then you have Trump pulling out of 66 UN programs just a few days ago, and
execute order 66.
Yeah, he left. He's pretty much pulled out of the UN and is getting us thrown out of NATO because the United States Congress won't vote to leave NATO. So he's trying to get us kicked out of NATO, which I think is a great idea.
Do you ever wonder why the UN building is in the United States and not anywhere neutral?
Yeah, because we were initially supposed to be the strong arm of the globalist regime, and that changed over to China, and then China did the double cross, but yet it's still the point of, okay, we got to destroy the United States from within and make it a desolate pile of shit so that it can't retaliate. Because if we make America the strong arm of the New World Order and they decide to rebel, the strong arm will take down the entire fucking system single-handedly.
If the UN building was somewhere neutral, like nowhere else, no other country, but somewhere neutral. Because look, for example,
Epstein Island.
The communist countries had their own independent area where they met back in the day.
Yeah.
We could do that someplace independent where no country controls it. It has to be a neutral treaty. A treaty where you can build a UN building there where every leader of every nation could go there and meet and talk and hobnob and whatever they do. But why is a building in the United States?
Yeah. Again, America was initially supposed to be the globalist strong arm, but then the globalists decided, well, what if the strong arm decides to become patriotic again and whoop our ass? So it was decided that the United States had to fall from within. That's why you have the breakdown of the system and whatnot. And it's really interesting because the majority of these systems seem to want to be leaning towards communism. And you have the Communist Party, you have the socialists and whatnot. Like, all these people seem to want to be communists or socialists to communism. Now, and they want to call Republicans Nazis. Now, let's look at that. Take Adolf Hitler out of the mix. Take the Holocaust out of the mix. Take Hitler out of the mix. The Nazis, the Third Reich, and communism were sworn enemies. They were in total opposition to each other.
Well,
the Nazis went to war with Russia because they had such a big problem with communism.
It's an ideological thing.
Yeah.
Fascism.
There's a lot of factors.
Fascism, communism, socialism. Okay? Will not work. But what is Marxism? Okay, it's a mixture of all three.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, Marxism is a mixture of all three. Plus, Karl Marx was a lazy motherfucker. The guy didn't work. His daddy paid for his damn schooling, but where'd the money go? Booze and whores.
Yeah. None of those systems actually work. But I find it interesting that the Nazis were strong opponents of communism. The Democratic Party is leaning more and more towards communism, from socialism to communism, and are calling the Republicans Nazis. I find that very interesting. I find that to be a very interesting correlation.
I find it very stupid.
Well, I mean, there's no denying that there are similar ideologies and similar practices that the United States employs, and even the Republican Party employs, in terms of governmental infrastructure and policy and economics and so on and so forth. Okay? Cremation. We got that from the Nazis. From the Holocaust. That's where cremation started. Okay? A lot of things were utilized, both good and bad, by the Nazi Party. And that's just commonplace. But to sit there and say, oh, because you implement something that the Nazi Party implemented, you're bad. Not everything that the Nazi Party did was bad. You're going to have, in every regime, even a totalitarian regime, you are going to have good and bad.
Yeah.
Now, one doesn't cancel out the other. It's just a fact of life. Okay? It's like mixing Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles. Okay? Two contradicting tastes.
Time out.
You get what I'm saying, though.
Yeah, but the idea that's like, man,
you got to separate. You got to separate the good from the bad.
I couldn't do it. It's like,
yeah, but you get what I'm saying. It's a mixture. It's a mixture, and you got to be able to discern the good from the bad.
And Fruity Cocoa, was it Cocoa Puffs and Fruity Cocoa Puffs?
Yeah, you got Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles.
It's a Penzi bowl.
Yeah, exactly. But
it's a Cocoa Penzi bowl.
Yeah, but my point is,
Can someone get me and bring me a breakfast chimichanga, please?
No chimichangas for Deadpool here.
I am not going to have some cocoa pansy bowl of cereal, man. Fuck that shit.
Okay,
bring me something beanie, man.
Stop harping on that. It was just an analogy. What I'm saying is, Nazism, like any political system, has its good and its bad elements. Yes, what the Nazi Party did in the Holocaust, that was bad. But that is not to say there were not elements of the party that were good, that were taken from previous or even currently existing political systems. And to sit there and say that, just because somebody implemented something that might be good, or even something that somebody would perceive as good, but you don't perceive as good, does not necessarily mean that it's bad, or that they are a part of the Nazi Party or any sort of totalitarian ideology, just because that ideology happened to employ that thing. Now, if we were putting people in concentration camps and all that other shit, then yeah, you could definitely make that argument. If you're sitting there saying, okay, let's get rid of all the non-whites and put everybody in concentration camps and, have gas showers and furnaces and disposal units running night and day, okay, then yeah, I could say definitively have a problem here. But sitting there bitching about a government agency that existed over a decade before Trump ever considered a presidential run, that's not Nazism. You're just describing you just don't like this person, so you're taking everything he does as a bad thing. And that should not be the case. And you're labeling Republican voters and the people who voted for Trump as Nazis and bad and all this other shit. And that's an unjust label. Yes, there are racists who voted for Trump. There are Nazis who voted for Trump. There are racists and bigots who probably applied for ICE and probably maybe even are employed with ICE. But does that represent the majority of ICE or the Republican Party? No.
Not just that, but here's the thing. During 2024, right? My ass was on TikTok every day.
Yeah.
I did live every day. Now, I don't vote Democrat or Republican. I'm a libertarian, conservative.
Yeah.
Okay. I get asked. I'll say, look, I don't vote. I ain't gonna vote for Trump or Harris. At the time, I was gonna vote for RFK Jr.
Same.
Okay. Now, the thing is, I get called a Trumper. Dude, I'm voting for RFK Jr. Why? Because he's not a Democrat. He's now independent. Hooray.
Yeah, and he was going to run as a Republican, but he stepped back to let Trump take that presidential run. And to Trump's credit, he brought Kennedy into his cabinet, and Kennedy's done a great job, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of people don't like Kennedy, mainly because, he aligned himself with Trump. Get off your fucking high horse. Look at the individual and look at what he's doing. Okay, get out of this mentality of orange man bad, all Republicans are Nazis. Okay, it's bigoted stereotyping. Okay, and I'm gonna fucking say it. And hold your thought, Reverend. I'm gonna fucking say it because this has been on my fucking mind for days.
Oh.
Okay, to sit there and generalize and say that all Republicans and Trump supporters are Nazis, or that all white people are Nazis, or that all Christians are racist. It's discriminatory. It is a form of racism. It is discrimination. It is generalizing discrimination. Okay? Discrimination in any capacity, regardless of their political affiliation, the color of their skin, their religious or ethnic background, or even their employment, is discriminatory, and discrimination in any capacity is wrong. Okay? Your party was the one that harped on that shit. Okay? It's wrong. Hating white people for being white is wrong. Hating somebody because they're Christian is wrong. Hating somebody because of their political alignment or because you don't like the orange man or even their place of employment is wrong. And to generalize and try to demonize them and call them Nazis and dehumanize somebody, especially somebody who's simply trying to do their job, is wrong. Now, why do these people go to work for ICE? Some of them are racist, yes, but is that the majority? No. So why do these people go to work for ICE? I talked about it in my last video on Tin Man TV. You look at the social and economic factors, okay? If you have 140 million migrants who are here illegally working American jobs, paying taxes, and the argument is, oh, if you deport those migrants, that's 40 million people that aren't paying taxes. No, those jobs open up for Americans to take them, at which point they are paying taxes. They are still paying those same taxes. So that demographic remains unchanged. The employment rate stays, okay? Those jobs are still filled. The taxes are still being paid. In fact, it actually improves the economic situation because in California in particular, you have the highest unemployment and homeless rate in the nation.
Exactly.
Now, if those jobs, if migrants are removing those jobs and Americans can take those jobs, prospectively, that reduces the unemployment and prospectively the homeless rate as well. And it will help the economy, which will help the economy because then that money's not being sent to migrant families in other countries, helping that country's economy. It's being spent here in the United States, boosting our economy, buying and selling our products, and has the additional sales tax. So you're actually getting more tax revenue by having American workers over migrant workers. Because the American workers are spending money in the United States, whereas the majority of migrant workers are sending money to their home country, to their family, which is supporting that country's economy. Okay, that's just one of many variables that have nothing to do with racism. I don't care if you're white, black, Hispanic, Ukrainian, whatever. If you came here illegally, you go home. That's always been the policy. You get picked up, you get sent back home. Okay, we're not throwing you in a fucking cage and boiling you in wax or anything like that. We're not tar and feathering motherfuckers. Okay,
And no, we're not going to send you to Alcatraz.
Yeah, which was a pretty fucked up thing. But if you just send them the fuck home, they're not going to be there very long. You don't sit there and hold somebody in some place like Alligator Alcatraz for 7 years. Okay, you pick them up, you find out the country of origin. It's pure and simple. You're not an American citizen. Your home country is ... Okay, we're gonna place you in a holding facility for a day or so until we got enough people to put on a bus or a plane, and then you're on your way home. Now you have Venezuela blocking the Trump administration from sending people back to Venezuela. So they were diverted to other countries. That is something that does need to be remedied. And as I pointed out before, is a part of the humanitarian policy of ICE and Immigration Services. That is something that has to be remedied. They will have to remedy that. And those countries that took those people in were countries that said, okay, we'll hold on to these people. We'll keep them safe and taken care of until we can get them back to their home country. Okay? So it wasn't like we just dropped them in the middle of the fucking ocean or something.
Yeah. Well, if you look at one guy, let's go towards that. I want to talk about the Minnesota snap fraud bullshit. Okay, just a little bit.
Yeah. It's amazing that this shooting happened not more than a few days after the whole Minnesota fraud thing came out, and also after Maduro was arrested. Amazing coincidence, isn't it?
Exactly. If y'all go back to that guy who just all happy, all smiles, thanking the taxpayer for taking care of him. I can sit around and jerk off the family dog, and I can stick a porcupine up my ass while you guys take care of me, dude.
Right?
You can smile all you want. Okay, look. By you filming yourself smiling and shit, man. You're pretty much giving yourself a ticket to be deported. Okay.
Yeah, you're making yourself a target.
Like, for example, that guy who was saying, come to the United States and you could squat, be a squatter in someone's house.
Yeah.
That guy is gone. He's gone. Okay, he's gone. Now, the Somali committee in Minnesota, they said, it's funny, we were promised Minnesota 3,000 years ago.
They weren't even here 1,000 years ago.
Exactly, no.
They were still throwing shit at each other in Africa and engaging in piracy.
And
I mean, not much has changed,
terrible.
but still, they were there before the advent of the aircraft and intercontinental travel with ships. They didn't have those capabilities. Somalia didn't have that. They only had localized.
Exactly.
They were localized in Somalia.
And what's funny is that you have a guy who's of Muslim faith in Japan wearing Japanese garb saying the people of Japan got it from us. No, dude. Go fuck yourself, man. Look, we all know
Piracy isn't exactly honesty, is it?
it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit, you know. They shared it with us. No, you did not. Japan had this style for thousands of years. Okay.
Yes, they do.
Japan is very strict. Very strict. They do not give a fuck. Okay. They will not give you your own grave. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to be buried, go somewhere else. Because Japan is very traditional. And they have been that way for thousands and thousands of years.
Yep.
They ain't going to change. Okay. If you don't like their cooking, get the fuck out. Go home.
Yeah.
Because the people of Japan have been this way and they will never change. Okay. They're very strict.
Yeah.
More than you ever know. Go home.
Yep.
They will not let you build a mosque. That's out of the question. Okay. They did not share anything with you because it's bullshit. Okay. Look, I laugh at these assholes. Okay, I do. Why? Because in that religion, in that culture thing, they're allowed to lie.
Yeah.
It makes you look. If you assume anything, it makes an ass out of you and your cousin you're fucking.
It was actually her brother.
Yes, and they got flipper. And they got. I mean, could you imagine they have grandkids? They have flipper grandkids.
Well, apparently there is a lot of inbreeding in a lot of these cultures. So that is
Not
a common
just that,
practice,
but
amongst
Well,
royal
yeah.
families, keeping the bloodline pure.
Yeah, but the thing is, it ain't really pure. It never was, and never will. Because the thing is, if you like, yeah, I have a right to fuck my dude. Inbreeding causes cognitive problems, and they showed a guy who was a product of
Inbreeding.
Inbreeding, and the cognitive is not good.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to do that, at least get a vasectomy or a hysterectomy or whatever, so you can't reproduce. I mean, if you want to go love is love, fine, but at least take the precautions to where you can't reproduce. Y'all don't want to fucking reproduce anyway. You want to have abortion? Just go get a hysterectomy, go send your husband or whatever to get a little snip,
Or
and don't have kids. Don't even risk the prospect of it. Okay, if that's what you want to do, love is love. Go have that somewhere else, but don't reproduce, please.
Either that or give him a goat.
Bad. That's bad. We don't need no more goat anus people around.
But
Aaron and I already addressed that.
That aside, in history, if you go back thousands of years, there's been inbreeding with the royal family. Okay.
Yes.
They get kind of problems and fucking ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, thing is, you gotta understand. The reason that two people that are not related, that do get married and have kids, at least those kids don't have problems. No health problems, no kind of bullshit issue. They're healthy as a fucking horse. Okay, they're healthy.
Relatively, yeah.
But if you inbreed, if you say culture where they're inbreeding, look at setup. Example, folks. Okay, let me back up a little bit. Example number one: Saddam Hussein. Him and his wife are actually fucking cousins. Okay.
Yeah.
And they have 3 flipper kids.
Yeah. If it's your second cousin, it's far enough away genetically to where it will not cause genetic defects. But anything closer than that, you're going to ever increase the risk of genetic defects, whether first cousin, aunt, uncle, siblings, parents, grandparents, whatever. It's too close genetic.
If you want proof, go watch Borat.
Yes. I hated that movie. That movie was so fucking stupid. I mean, I get the
watch Borat.
I forget what they were trying to show and illustrate, but still, it was a stupid fucking movie. Did not enjoy that movie. But yeah, you have a lot of these issues going on, and it's amazing that this whole thing with ICE kicked off almost immediately after the Somali fraud and came to light, and Maduro got arrested. And I honestly think it might be a smokescreen. And I said this the other day, that all this could be a smokescreen so that the CIA can eliminate Maduro and keep him quiet so that he doesn't sing like a canary. Because where was all that fraud coming from? Where was all that money laundering being funneled through? Venezuela. Venezuela was the home plate for all the money laundering that Doge uncovered, and for all the election fraud that China was involved with. Okay? Venezuela was the home base of operations. Yeah, China.
Very huge.
Yeah. So Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, he's going to know the names of all those motherfuckers. Just like Epstein knew the names of all those motherfuckers.
There was a Somali guy at a town hall meeting, a local meeting at City Hall. He said this. I'm like, what the fuck? Like really? Saying, if the Democrats stop talking about the SNAP fraud scandal, we will not vote for you. Democrats, you can go fuck yourselves. We will not vote for you. Basically, he's given the playbook.
Yeah.
Not thinking the playbook here.
But then again, that goes back to the inbreeding. Not exactly cognitive. Not exactly firing on all cylinders.
I'm like, dude, you're basically telling the local city government of what you're fucking doing.
Yeah.
You're giving them a reason.
Going on.
You're basically giving them the reason to find your stupid ass and deport your ass.
Yeah, and these people are stupid and arrogant.
They ain't thinking because maybe they were a product of a flipper family building here. What the fuck?
Now I've got Danny DeVito's penguin stuck in my head. Yeah, he had a shiny flipper.
If y'all go back, if y'all want to know what I'm saying, go back and watch that 70s show where Brittany Daniels, who's fucking hot by the way, was a guest on the show playing the cousin Eric Foreman.
I remember that episode.
And he goes, I ain't gonna raise any flipper grandchildren.
All right, so bringing this full circle, why is this happening? One, they probably want to permanently silence Maduro before he can talk. So Trump, if you're listening, or somebody get this in Trump's ear, if not the video, the message. Protect Maduro. Do not let anything happen to him before you can get him on record and get him to sing like a canary on record.
Or did it get them?
Yeah. Don't let anything happen to Maduro before you can get him to sing on record.
If you get a video of Diddy giving Maduro a corn roll, there you go.
There you go. But the other angle, why is all this happening? Why is Soros paying for these protesters and agitators to show up and disrupt ICE? Why are ICE agents and Republicans being labeled as racist?
Because Democrats, 16 here, folks. We're doing 16 here.
Uh-oh.
It's because
how much more can you go?
Look, Democrats are desperate to stay in power locally, state, and federal. Now, the reason they really here's the real reason they put Biden in office.
Weekend at Bernie's.
To open up the floodgates. Why? Because Democrats lost the black vote. A huge majority percentage of voters that are black. They want to bring in immigrants to vote for them so they can promise them something for free for a vote.
Yep, that's why the majority of the white Democratic voting class are on Social Security or county aid. Right? A huge percentage of Democratic voters are on county aid. Single mothers. I grew up in that type of household. It's a very commonplace thing. All right, you got a party that promises you free shit. Okay, we're the party of the poor. We're going to take care of you. But they don't get you working. They don't get you out of your impoverished state, because if you start working, then your ideals align with the ideals of the Republican Party, which is the party of the working class, not the rich, but the working class. Okay, which is why Democrats make all these arguments. Oh, we need to tax the rich, even though they don't have taxable income. And even when they were in power, the Democrats never did anything about it. It's just a talking point.
Did you hear about AOC?
What about her? What you do? What did the Obama cunt do this time? What did an Obama cunt do this time?
Now I came across this like yesterday here. Now I've been thinking about this for like all night here.
Okay.
We all know about
AOC.
We all know she went to Venezuela and met the guy. Okay.
Maduro?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why is that? Because she's Maduro's state agent.
Yeah, I know she was pretty upset when he got arrested.
A state agent for Maduro?
It would make sense considering her statements and her crocodile tears, just completely going ballistic on camera.
Why did her mom leave New York for Florida? Why did her mother leave New York for Florida? Folks, think about that. Okay, look, stop and think. Why did AOC's mom leave New York for Florida?
Yeah.
Think.
Good question.
Okay? Good question.
Okay. There's a lot of things going on here. A lot of factors at play, but what is their main play? Let's get into the main play.
Oh, yeah.
Civil War, John Podesta plan. I went into great detail about this in my last video, but we're going to keep harping on it because people need to stop and think.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go back to that Axios image.
They want blood. They want blood.
Yep. There needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public. Axios.
Exactly.
Axios. Democrats told to get shot for the anti-Trump resistance. Civility isn't working, and to prepare for violence. They want you to get violent. They will pay you to get violent so that you can be used as a sacrificial lamb. If you have families at home, Renee didn't have her kids. She got her kids taken away by CPS, apparently. But so she didn't have much to lose. No. But how many people in the Democratic Party do have something to lose? You're going out there for a few $100 to put a bullseye on your back and to make yourself a target to escalate a situation to the point where lethal force would be authorized so that they can use you as a George Floyd 2.0 or just fucking stage manage an event and kill you themselves and blame it on Republicans? Okay, do you really want to die and leave your family behind? Yeah, that's my first point. Do these people who are doing this really fucking think here? Do you really want, is it really worth fighting an agency that has existed for 24 years that nobody had a problem with for 24 years up until now, for the sake of being a sacrificial lamb? A goat led to the slaughter? To leave your family, your children, your friends behind? To die?
Over for an ideology. Over an ideology and couple $1,000s.
Yeah. And for what? Go die and leave your family behind and make your family and friends sad and suffer and put them in financial straits? Just because the Democratic Party is falling out of power? And you're supporting a power grab? Because that's what this is. It's a power grab. Okay?
They weren't just Democrats. They were Obama's leftover Democrats.
Yeah. And let's not mince words. The globalist machine is not just the Democratic Party or this or that.
Exactly.
There's Republicans in it too.
Yeah.
There are Zionists involved in it too. The Chinese are involved in it. The Europeans and the British royal family are intricately and intimately involved in it. Okay? It's not just one specific group. It's an entire cabal of all these organizations that came together and said, hey, let's have a world government. We want to rule the world. And now it's getting to the point where there's a bunch of infighting because everybody wants to rule the world and nobody wants to share. So the whole system is falling apart, but the system still has all its wind-up toys, like the Democrats and many Republicans, who are still just pushing this thing forward. It's a dying system. The Democratic Party, in terms of its popularity and its support, is essentially a dying system now. So you have two dying systems that you are fighting for, unbeknownst to
that, but some of the Republicans are neocons and rhinos.
Yeah. Some of them are neocons and rhinos. Many of the Democratic Party identify with socialism, if not outright communism. And that's what they want to move the party towards. And, many people who are ascribing to the Antifa ideals and going out as agitators and whatnot, many of these people support these ideas. Okay, but you look at history, you look at the public declarations of the people that came before you, of the supporters of those ideas that came before you, who sat there and asked, okay, well, we do this thing, but what do we do after once we're in control? No answer. They had no idea what they were going to fucking do after they gained control. It was all about gaining control, but it was never Who's going to run this bitch, and how was it going to be run? You're fighting for the sake of a system that is speeding headfirst into a brick wall. And you're willing to die for this. You're willing to put your family through hell for this. Really think about it, guys. Really sit down and think about it. To my friends on the left, and even those who ascribe to ideals like Antifa or socialism or communism and whatnot, really fucking think about this. Yeah, I get why a lot of people have grievances with Trump. Okay? He's a loudmouth. He's big on the whole controversy creates cash. He understands how to flex on people and how to fucking troll. Okay? He's a dick. Okay? I get it. He'll even say it himself. He's a fucking dick. Okay? But as to whether or not he's actually doing his job or being a legitimate totalitarian, really do your history and learn your history and the law. Okay? Don't just listen to what some talking point on your political side tells you. Really do your research and think for yourself before going out to your next ICE raid. And ask yourself before you show up there, while you're driving from out of state or out of town to go to this ICE raid, really sit down and ask yourself and do some research. Pick up your fucking phone while you're sitting there in the passenger seat and start doing some research.
Exactly.
And why these people
research and learn your history, learn to know the laws. If you do that, you're pretty much saving your ass.
Yeah, learn the laws, learn the history, learn about what Trump's actually doing, learn about why ICE actually does what they do. Look at the reasons as to why the majority of America voted for the orange man that you hate so much. Really try to look at and get a broader picture of the people that you are opposing, whether it be Republican voters, ICE agents, or even Donald Trump himself. Okay? We've talked about it on this podcast. There are points that we do not agree with Donald Trump on. And we are willing to hold his feet to the fire and get him to course correct where we feel that he is wrong. And we encourage every American to do the same. He is our president, whether you like it or not. If we can get him to work for us, why not? He's here. Let's get him to work for us if we can. Why the hell not? But let's get out of this narrow-minded mentality of Trump bad, Trump and Republicans are racist, ICE is racist, Nazi. No.
I agree.
There are racists and Nazis in ICE, in the Republican Party. But
I agree. I agree. We need to get out of this narrative bubble. We need to learn our history, to understand it so we don't repeat it.
Yeah. And
we have to learn the laws, understand the laws so we don't repeat the mistakes the first time.
Yeah. And we need to understand by learning the law and learning our history and understanding what's going on in the present. It gives us a broader picture and an understanding of what's really going on here. It's not Republican versus Democrat. It's not people versus the Nazi orange man. It's way bigger than that. They want a civil war, which the left can't win. But it would be a major economic and social blow to this country, which would allow for a foreign power or even globalism, a globalist entity, to come in and take over. If we're sitting there fighting amongst ourselves, let's bring up the red and blue map. I'm going to bring up the red and blue map here. Let's look at the red and blue map.
It's the one thing we need to avoid, man. I mean, honestly, we need to avoid, in case of civil war, man, That's the problem we need to avoid.
Yeah, you look at this map. Most of your blue states, they're surrounded. Okay, you can't get supply lines to these two, or really to these two. It's going to be very difficult. You could probably use the waterways in some regards to get to these blue states. Georgia's going to be completely isolated. Georgia's going to be one of the first to fall. Maybe Hawaii be one of the first, maybe one of the last. Given it's just kind of sitting out in the middle of the ocean. But the Western front here, completely isolated. And who's on the other side of the ocean? Who's on the other side of the ocean, guys? China and Russia.
Look at California, okay? Look at California. It's blue, right? Blue.
Yeah.
We got a guy here in California. He's English born.
Yeah.
In California. He's running for governor of California, and he's winning. Okay?
Yeah.
This guy knows politics like the back of his fucking head, man.
Yeah. Is he running as a Republican or a Democrat? I forget.
Republican.
Wow.
And what he's saying about California, who really runs the state, is the unions.
Yeah.
They have all the money. They pick and choose who they want as governor. Now, the thing is, I want to see a governor go straight after those unions, man.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
And that can happen. But if we have a civil war, that's not going to happen.
No.
Governor Newsom would wind up staying in power, and all the governors of these territories would stay in power until such time that the conflict was resolved. But you think about it.
There'll be 10 sectors. 10 sectors.
Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4,
50
5.
states.
And they'll probably divide up those 5 blue areas into sectors. Probably break those in half. So you probably have
if you
split here, a split here, and a split there.
If you all remember the episode of Conspiracy Theory and the Police State episode, 10 regional governors will control 10 sectors of the United States.
Yeah. But think about it. If we go to civil war while Trump is president, that constitutes a national emergency. That means the Constitution is suspended and Orange Man stays in power for as long as the conflict survives. So if you go to Democrats, you're sacrificing yourself for this civil war. You're sacrificing your life to keep Trump in power. That's point number 1. Point number 2, all of your territories are isolated. Georgia will be the first to fall, followed by Hawaii if they don't just say fuck it and wait till last. You have no supply lines. You're isolated. And a lot of these states are probably going to fall next because they don't have the agriculture or the infrastructure. Most of your infrastructure and development happens in these areas here in the southern states and maybe a few of the conservative northern states. You got some agriculture in California, but you're not going to be able to get it to these areas or to Georgia. Okay, Georgia's just going to be eating peaches, and they're going to fall quick. They're going to fall almost immediately within days, if not hours. Okay? Now you've got military bases. You can say, oh, we're going to take over the military bases. The majority of your military bases are occupied by conservative military personnel. Yeah, you might have a few Democrats in there, but regardless of where they are on the map, they're going to be told you either fall in line and follow orders or you're going to be court-martialed and tried for treason. Okay? So the limited number of Democrats that you have in the military are going to fall by the wayside, and you're going to have military strongholds. I can think of at least 3 military bases in California. You got the Long Beach shipyards. You've got the San Diego
Camp Pendleton
Marine Base, Camp Pendleton, And you've got March Air Force Base inland in Paris, California.
Not just that, but you have
That's just three that I know of off the top of my head locally.
You have a naval base in Lemoore.
Yeah. So that's four bases right there. And probably far more. You've got numerous enemy strongholds in your states. And all you've got is your little militia and Antifa safe houses. Okay, you think that the Marines in San Diego can't just pop into a fucking helicopter and drop a bomb on your fucking little safe house or fucking napalm the entire neighborhood? Come on.
Camp Pendleton is both quick. Camp Pendleton is both Navy and Marine, man.
Yeah, but you see my point, though.
Yeah.
How easy is it going to be for the military to just come in and bomb or napalm an Antifa stronghouse, an Antifa safe house, or even just napalm the entire fucking neighborhood?
Exactly.
Easy peasy. This isn't a war that they can win, and it just keeps Trump in power, which is the exact opposite of what Democrats want. You're sacrificing your life for a war that you can't win and for a conflict that will keep Donald Trump and the Republicans in all these red states in power. You are literally committing suicide for yourself and your party.
Exactly.
It's no bueno, guys. It's no bueno. Seriously, really do your homework. Really stop and think about what's really going on. And even if you had a chance at actually winning this war, it's just going to rip the country apart.
I think when you look at it, there are some places where there are some cities, like we have a couple here in California, where it's like no government controls it. It's the people that, for example, there's a small town in Southern California where it's run by people that are living in tents, motorhomes, and shit like that. Those small communities. Those kind of communities will be basically overrun because of, I mean, it's people that just want to be themselves. Don't want to be like, those will be the first to be overrun by people like Antifa,
Yeah. So
if you really want to build a community like for safety and shit, let's go down to the history lesson here. Kaiser, right? Kaiser. If you see Dr. Kaiser Permanente, the name Kaiser, okay? Kaiser, okay? He owned Kaiser. He bought and owned Willys, which built Willys Jeep. He built a community. He spent $17 million on a community. Okay. That would sustain families, jobs, shit like that. Okay. If we take those communities right there and sustain that for people that want to find a place for safety shit, let's do that. Let's take money away from the rich and build that shit again. Because people need to be safe.
Again, how are you going to tax the rich? They don't have taxable income. They only have non-taxable assets like stocks and bonds.
Yeah.
Okay. And they borrow and they levy those assets to take out non-taxable loans to buy more assets.
Through a trust.
And any money they have is in foreign bank accounts under corporations and other aliases. It's not aliases. What is the term I'm looking for? Trust. You have things like a allodial trust.
They put it in the trust or LLC.
They put it in a foreign bank account under an allodial trust. Their company is under allodial trust.
Or LLC.
And they have no money, but not they only have non-taxable assets that they borrow against, and the money that they make goes into these foreign bank accounts that are outside of the United States tax code and are not privy to United States tax law. So what are you going to tax? There's nothing to tax. It's just a talking point for Democrats. Go, oh, we need to tax the rich and take care of the poor. How are you going to tax the rich when they don't have an income?
Bernie Sanders for years wanted to tax the billionaires, millionaires. Like, dude, you are a multi-millionaire. You own 2 mansions. So why saying we need to tax the wealthy? Dude, you're wealthy yourself, dude.
Yeah, it's just a talking point.
A socialist. You are a multi-millionaire socialist bullshitter.
Yeah, it's all bullshit. It's just a talking point. That's what I'm getting at. It's just a talking point. It's a rallying cry because everybody loves the idea. Help the poor people, tax the rich, feed the poor. Okay, it's as old as time itself. But nothing ever gets done about it because of, one, the variables I mentioned, and 2, the variables you mentioned, because they're rich themselves and they're not going to fuck themselves in the ass.
Turkey.
Yep. So again, these are just variables that people really need to think about. So when you're on your way to your next ice disruption, think about why you're doing it. Think about why these people do what they do. Do your research. Learn why these people actually went to work for ICE and not just ascribe them as racist, because that's discriminatory in and of itself. That's generalizing discrimination.
Yes, also, please don't waste upon on you.
Yes. And just really do your research and stop to think and try to see the broader picture, because you're being used as cannon fodder. Yes. You're sacrificial lambs for...
See it through a bigger picture, man. Broader brush.
Something that is just complete and utter bullshit. So,
if you do that, you'll save your ass.
Bigger picture. Do your research, guys. You're smart. Most of you are very smart people. Republicans and Democrats alike, you have smart people. Exactly. Those people, do your research, see the truth, and see that you're being used. Just like the Democratic Party used the government shutdown and people who weren't getting SNAP benefits to try to fucking use it as a flex and blackmail the Republican Party into doing what they wanted. Okay? I get there's things you want on the right. I get there's things that people want on the left. I get it. We have our grievances. But we don't need to sacrifice our lives to accomplish it. Work smart, not hard. Don't kill yourself to accomplish something. Okay? You're more effective alive and using your voice and your brain than using your body and your vehicle as a weapon and as a sacrificial lamb. In the meantime, again, we're just going to put the turkey in the oven. I am Chris Sheldon, aka the Tin Man with the Worldwide Resistance Network. Thank you,
Robert Ordo.
Benordo, thank you. And thank you, Kurt Zero, for having chimed in the comments. And to everybody who tuned in. Again, if you like this broadcast, share the retransmission. Follow us on X, Rumble, YouTube, all at Real TWWRN. And also check out our online store. And until next time, this is Tin Man with the Worldwide Resistance Network. If you're watching this, you, my friends, my brothers and sisters, are the resistance.